Hey everyone, welcome to the 5th event in the AutoFlux games Season 2. Now if you have been following along, we have gone through a number of challenges, but this one is actually going to be the final, well, main event. The only event after this will be for the finale, in which I will be revealing the winners, but there is an event within that, which is the poll. So I haven't been mentioning the poll early in the videos like I did before. I wanted to sort of see what people were thinking, those who primarily watch to the end of the video, that is, or they read the description, because there's always been a link there. But for you who are watching right now, you can go ahead and vote in the poll. And whenever I go to make that other video, the finale, I'll take the results from that, and that is the 6th event in the games that is going to have a significant difference in the scoreboard. So make sure that you vote for the car that you like the most. So today's event is a dirt hill climb. We are going to be taking our cars here onto the automation test track, the Hillclimb 2 event. And the reason for this is that this is an all-dirt event, and none of these cars are set up to drive in the dirt at all. So it's going to be interesting. I think that dirt aspect kind of levels the playing field a little bit. Not totally, because obviously things like the beamng are just not going to do as well, but we'll have to see, because wheel spin is going to be huge today, so it's going to be interesting. So that being said, our first car to go is going to be the beamng. We're actually going to be going in reverse order from last to first from the drag race event. So here we go. So if you have been watching the channel lately, you'll know that I just did a huge stream and I have been driving a lot. So it's going to be hopefully decent this time. I'm hoping the laps will be good. It's weird to play the game with higher graphics settings because I always have to turn it down for streams, but here we go. Let's take the beamng for a spin. I'm going to leave the torque curve up. There isn't much of a torque curve on the beamng, but let's see here. No wheel spin on this one, which is nice. But this will give us a good introduction to the track, I think. You'll be able to see some of the technicalities for it, some of the other interesting little pieces. So what I'm going to do is something that I also did on the stream, and that is if I cannot finish with a car in 3 laps, I'm going to either DNF it, or I'm just going to, on the 3rd lap, just go in whatever state I'm in. So if I lose a wheel, I'm going to keep going if I can. If I lose 3 wheels, I'm going to try to keep going, but it'll probably get DNF'd. So we might end up with some very lengthy times here, depending on how these laps go. Okay, so in terms of the beamng, there isn't much to say about this one. It actually doesn't handle too poorly on the dirt. Maybe a beamng Rally Edition is in order. I actually tested the beamng Sport on this, and I think it got a 223 after an accident. So hopefully the beamng can do maybe a 3-minute lap. I just fear that once we get to the hill climb portion of this, which is coming up, the beamng is not going to be able to sustain any speed. Let's see, I'm going to hit the handbrake there and then just kind of mash the gas, but as you can see, we're not really gaining any speed while going up the hill. So this is going to be a slow one. Oh, almost a minor accident there with the beamng. Kind of unexpected, but I believe we only have 2 checkpoints left. You can see the final one is way up at the top of the hill. So, oh no, we're losing speed. Okay. Come on, beamng, first gear. Let's do this. And around a corner, 38 kilometers an hour. We're not even speeding in a school zone right now. Oh wow, we are drastically losing speed as we go up this hill. Yeah, things are a little bit desperate here. Honestly, for the next AutoFlux games, I'm thinking of doing sub 50 horsepower cars only. That could be a lot of fun to see what kind of challenges we could do with that. But anyway, let's keep going here. Alright, so we are at a steady decline in speed, but once we get around this little hill here, I mean, we should probably just be leaving it in first gear. I'm currently not in realistic mode as I was for the drag races, but I am going to be working towards that for the upcoming videos, so you'll see me trying it at least a few times. But this is, okay, we're over 3 minutes. We are going to hopefully make it. This is in first gear, so there isn't much else you can do here other than just pray. Come on, beamng. Let's go. 3.5 minutes. Okay, no, it's gonna be 3 minutes and 19.63 seconds. Okay, so that's the time to beat. Alright, next up on the list is the Rhino. We have to go quick with this one because the parking brake will destroy the rear brakes, and we kind of need those as much as possible. The Rhino does not stop. and it does not accelerate very well either, but it does have pretty massive wheels, so I'm hoping it'll do well on the dirt in terms of grip. So far no wheel spin or anything crazy like that. It is four-wheel drive, so it does have an advantage over the Bugo. I don't think we'll be losing any speed going up the hill, just because this one has quite a bit more power, but it still is going to be, I'm assuming, the second slowest time, just based on what we've done so far. It really is the mid-pack where things get interesting, and where the leaderboard can get changed up. So I did see some things before on the last one of these that I did, not the drag race, but the street circuit, and people were saying that I tried too many times with the Beamng, and that's why that's why I've decided to implement that rule, just to keep things fair. So if by any chance the Rhino loses a wheel, we'll retry, but yeah, we're gonna keep going as much as we can. Right, so far so good, as long as we can continue to get around some of these tighter corners. And oh, the brakes have failed us. Yeah, we're gonna retry that just because the axle has been significantly shifted. Alright, so this time I've attempted to learn my lesson, but have unfortunately gotten in here a little bit slowly. At least the Rhino does have the torque to move, it actually will accelerate going uphill. But the brakes on it are basically non-existent, so we do have to consider that when going into some of these tighter sections. But so far so good on this run. We're still going to end up doing a Rhino R at some point, the massive V16, and then we'll have to compare that to this time. It's going to be fun. Okay, so we are currently decelerating going uphill, but as soon as it shifts down, we're pretty much fine. This is a pretty decently sized V12, so yeah, we should theoretically have power despite our weight issues. Alright, it is quite a challenge to get through some of these corners. My goodness. Alright, here we go with the Rhino. We just have to get around this final... Actually, is this the final hairpin? Okay, it is. And then the long hill all the way up. We should have probably tried this with a hay trailer and see if it made any difference to the Rhino. Probably not. So it's not going to be as bad as the Bugo, but it's still not the best time. That is a 239.342. Right, next up, believe it or not, is the XR5. Now this one actually has a good chance of doing well here. Just because it's all-wheel drive, it is probably one of the best ones that we can have for the dirt. It's pretty well set up for a track like this, so we should be able to do pretty well with it. Evidently it did not do well in the drag races though, my goodness. But yeah, this is going to be decent. So far so good with this car. I guess we get that modern technology as well, ABS and such is going to help us out. No more skidding to a stop. Right, so this is my first taste of this track going fast, and unfortunately there is some pretty significant lag around some of these corners. My computer has been suffering lately for whatever reason, probably just because I've been doing a lot of streams and it does not like that, but yeah, this is not something that I'm used to, so we're gonna have to adjust here. Okay, here we go. So no issues at all. I mean, that was a mild corner cut, but I think we can get away with that. No issues at all in terms of speed going uphill. Grip is no problem in this car. I'm not even sure if it's on slicks or not. It might even be on sport tires, so that gives it even more of an advantage on the dirt here. Stuff like the Saint Ultra R and the Beamng, they'll be fast, yeah, but they'll be so uncontrollable that it's going to take a lot of tries, and I anticipate that they might even get themselves into trouble around here, just because of that one rule. Okay, coming in a little bit hot around that corner, but we can definitely pull out of it. Just give it a touch of power. This is going to be our first real benchmark time. One that the mid-pack is going to have a hard time getting to, I think. Alright, coming up the final hill here, no problem at all with acceleration and speed. As long as we can just fly straight, that's an under 2 minute time. That's a 1:59. So far we've had one time in the 3 minutes, one time in the 2 minutes, and then one time in the 1 minute. The Brodozer, I have no idea. This one is actually pretty fast, 4-wheel drive. It is on slicks these days. The last Brodozer was on off-road tires, I believe, which was a terrible mistake. But this one hopefully will do a little bit better than some of the other trucks, such as the Panther Tree Turbo, just because 4-wheel drive, long wheelbase is not bad for this kind of stuff, so we'll have to see. Okay, so far so good. This truck is just massive. Like it's actually the biggest size that you can make it. Like it's the longest that it can be. So it's kind of a boat. A little bit tough to move around on some of these corners, especially those tighter ones up there with the guardrail. That's going to be interesting. Coming up to this corner here, had a few issues here in the past, but the brakes on the Brodos are pretty good, and it does not wave and like anywhere near as much as the Rhino. I remember when this used to be the heavyweight of the group, but yeah, now we have stuff like the Rhino to cover for that. Slight wall tap there, no big deal as long as the rim did not get damaged, although I feel like it might be pulling to the right just a little bit. We'll have to see how that affects things. Okay, not too bad overall. I'm definitely feeling pretty confident with these times. Oh boy, goodness, I probably shouldn't say that too soon. Alright, can we get a sub 2-minute time with the Brodozer? My goal, of course, is to beat the Rhino. But we have 15 seconds to get up there. Let's see if we can do it. And, oh, this is fast. Oh, okay. That's a 1:58. That is actually faster than the XR5. Goodness, that's a record for this track. So the San Andreas Low is the next one to go. We're going to be going with the Low just because it was the original. At least I'm pretty sure it was. It was my original intention for the Lowrider, so we're gonna go ahead and use it for this. Yeah, we'll see how it does. Rear wheel drive and not really set up for this kind of stuff. It's gonna be interesting. Unfortunately, this car is pretty low in the current leaderboards, and this, oh wow, that's a heck of a grass shortcut there. But this competition does not exactly favor it. So if you want to see the San Andreas get some points, then please make sure to vote for it. It needs your support. Oh my goodness. Okay, this car by far is spending the most time in the grass, but as long as we get those checkpoints, it's fine. It's definitely not the most optimal route, but having... Oh goodness. Its diff is unlocked currently, and I'm gonna leave it that way. But having that, it just really likes to spin the wheels. It's a half throttle for sure all the way up this mountain. Okay, a bit of an error there, but man, we are flying sideways. I'm so glad that we didn't do this in the rally competition. Most cars were all-wheel drive, and it made things a heck of a lot easier. Speaking of the rally competition, I was actually going to use the same track as that for this event, but I decided to switch it to dirt just because I drove that track like 200 times during the actual challenge, and I'm kind of sick of it. That's kind of what happens when you do that. Can't drive something too much. Oh wow, that wheel spin is not good for the frame rate. All right, we're having trouble putting power on the ground, but other than that, this car is not bad. It does drive decently on pavement. It's really not set up for speed at all. It's very much a lowrider. It might actually do worse than the Rhino, probably just because the Rhino is four-wheel drive. That one, if you remember, was a 239, and we're already at 210, so yeah, time is ticking away here. Well, I fear that we probably would have failed that catch the train mission with this one, as we're going to lose to the Rhino for sure. Just having so many issues putting the power on the ground. We're gonna see that a lot actually. The next few cars are all rear-wheel drive, so yeah, this is gonna be an interesting bottom end on this scoreboard. But here we go, just gonna hit it. Ooh, that's a 2:57, almost 3 minutes. That's only, what, 22 seconds slower than the Bugo? Or faster than the Bugo, I mean? Like, that's pretty slow. So, this time we have more rear-wheel drive, but we also have modern technology and wider tires. I don't know if that's going to do much. We'll have to see. Actually, after this, we have, let me see, 1, 2, 3 more rear-wheel drive cars in a row. So, it's going to be a bit of a slippery slope here. Let's go ahead and give the Trig X a go. Okay, immediately we're having wheel spin issues, and we are sliding everywhere. I'm going to try to avoid, obviously, falling off the track like I did with the San Andreas. That was an unintentional thing that happened. We're going to try and be smooth and drift around the corners and not drift on the straights, because that's really not efficient. We'll have to see how this goes. So immediately it is faster than the San Andreas, and it does have more grip, but I don't know. This is dangerous. Like, it's kind of misleading how comfortable you can get with this kind of stuff. I really don't know how long this is actually going to last for. Now, one thing that's quite good is I've really only had to redo one run. I feel that at the top end of things with the Bomero and the Saint Ultra R, we're probably going to need at least 2 runs, possibly 3. We'll have to see though. Those cars are just so ridiculous that in order to put down a good time, you really have to like get used to it. Okay, so back onto the Trig-X, there was a mild collision there, just a bit of a slip into the barrier. But going uphill is definitely a challenge. It tends to veer to whatever side the slope of the road is actually on, especially when going uphill for whatever reason. I mean, I guess that's just physics, but it's kind of annoying. Okay, coming around this corner, not too bad. Just a bit of a drift there. Nothing too crazy. I am particularly bad at drifting, so I try to avoid it. Sometimes it is faster though. In this case, I don't even know. I mean, you could probably attempt to drift this entire track, but yeah, we'll avoid it for now. And we're gonna have, hopefully, a reasonable time with this car. Nowhere near our benchmark time, which is actually now the Bulldozer with a 158. But we're not gonna do... we'll do a little bit better than the Rhino. Yeah, a 234. Actually, yeah, that's 5 seconds better than the Rhino. So the rear-wheel drive cars are really suffering in this event, and, well, this is no exception. This one does have some wheel spin issues, especially with... Oh, wow, okay. Instant wheel spin issues. It really should have been 4-wheel drive. That was a mistake. I didn't make it 4-wheel drive, but I definitely should have. I just wanted a little bit more variety, but yeah, I don't know. Kind of a mistake. Either way, it does have some pretty wide tires in the back, so we haven't done any loops yet, but I feel that if we get too carried away here, we might end up doing a bit of a spin. Now, some people may not be particularly pleased by the absence of a towing event in this series, but I had these ideas for these events and I wanted to mix it up, so that's kind of how it went. Don't worry though, I will continue to do towing things. As I have mentioned in other videos, that's kind of a thing I like to do for cars. That's why this one has a hitch. That's why this one was made to tow. Eventually we will do some sort of towing competition. We'll have to see how it goes though. Alright, through the checkpoints here with not much in terms of error so far. A few slip outs, but reasonably straight. This car, this truck, yikes, as I speak. Alright, let's give that one a second chance and see if it makes any difference. Okay, this time we're not going to crash. This is actually the 3rd time it's gone, so this is its final chance. If anything goes wrong, then, well, that's gonna be it. Because I did have an error in my 2nd attempt, which I didn't show. But, yeah, not the greatest. We're just gonna continue to push this thing as far as it'll go. We're almost at the top. Just, I think, this checkpoint and the finish line left, and we should be good, but my goodness, these rear-wheel drive cars struggle a lot going up this hill. I guess this is a bit of a blow to them in the leaderboard, but that's kind of a good thing. I don't think that this is going to affect the top 3 too much, but we'll have to see. But things like the Rhino and the Bulldozer, like currently the Bulldozer is winning this with a under 2 minute lap time with the XR5 in 2nd. Like that's not a common thing for this event, and the Rhino is doing better than some of the other cars as well. Like pretty crazy. Okay, so we're not gonna lose to the Rhino with the tree turbo, but that's a 238, so that's just a bit slower than the Trig-X, but also a little faster than the Rhino. Not too bad. Alright, 2 more rear-wheel drives before we get back into the all-wheel drives. This is the XR8. It is a CTS-ish car. Not particularly well appointed for this event. We'll have to see how it did. It actually did quite well in the drag race, but goodness. The wheel spin is going to be an issue on this one. I believe it has around the same amount of power as the Panther Tree Turbo, but it also is, well, much lighter, and I think much more prone to wheel spin. We'll have to see. I think you could probably say this one was not well designed, whereas its XR5 cousin was indeed well designed. Platinum seal of approval. Okay, so far not too bad. We are actually able to drive straight with this one. Not 100% sure why, but it is a lot more controllable than I was thinking it would be. We should be able to get a decent time down with it, which is good. I guess the massive wheels on the back are probably helping, but it could also be just gear ratio. Sometimes that can do it. And now that I think about it, it does not have a turbo, which I would say is definitely helping. However, the San Andreas also didn't have a turbo, but this is probably limited slip as well, so that could also do it. Alright, here we go. Not too bad, but not great either. Definitely a little wobbly in some of these areas, but so far not the worst run. Definitely not the worst run. That still goes to the Bugo, but some things have been getting close. I don't think we have anything except for maybe, I mean, next is the VATS E-Spec, so you never know with that one. We could end up with a 12-minute lap time because it loses a wheel on its third run. Alright, almost there with the XR8. Just getting closer. Oh goodness. Just gotta try and drive it as straight as possible. It seems the grooves on the road are actually helping quite a bit with this. But yeah, not the best. We'll just hit it. Oh wow, 238.8. Yikes, that is actually slower than the tree turbo. Alright, so the VATS E-Spec is next. This is probably the most, well, unreliable vehicle we've had in the competition. I like it quite a bit, like in terms of style, but it's got a very odd drivetrain. Let's see what it'll do though. Naturally aspirated boxer, let's go. Okay, so immediately we are suffering from the old wheel spin, but that is reasonable. That's kind of what we would expect with another rear wheel drive. This one being extremely light, I don't know if that's actually going to help or not in this case. I mean, we can pick up some speed, but oh wow, we have to drift every corner here. This is going to be a challenge. Okay, so I basically have just driven most of the first section there in the grass, just because it refused to stay on the road. But still, we're going quite quick. This car has always been fast, and I guess I should have anticipated that. The bounciness of it is not helping, but it's not really hindering that much either. It's kind of just a neutral thing. At least in this bottom section so far. As we start to go up, I feel it might just throw us off a little bit. Hopefully not though. Huge drift coming into this piece. Okay, get a little bit of gas there and instant wheel spin. So far not bad though. I'm interested to see how this one will do, if it will beat the last few cars that we've done. Alright, so that was actually a pretty fast section. I guess maybe I'm getting a little too used to the rear wheel drives because we're about to hit some cars that are going to be able to do this track real quick. But 145 so far, that's not good. It's going to be tough to break the times that we've just been seeing. Okay, mild drift into this section. We do have a chance here to do well. We just have to... Okay, 205, yikes. Kind of push things a little bit. Alright, almost hit the barrier. But we just have to get up this section, and we should be good to go. Okay, come on XR5, let's make it in the first run. That's all I care about right now. Oh, it's trying to go off the other side? No. Come on. That was like the worst collision I've ever seen. Why does that pole not have collision? Okay, let's give it another shot. Okay, here we go. There is the time. 230.983. Honestly, I think the best way to describe driving the E-Spec on that course is as if the road is porcelain and the wheels are skateboard wheels. Okay, back into the all-wheel drive cars. At least I'm fairly certain. Yeah, okay, this one is definitely all-wheel drive. Let's give it a go. The Group C Owl, I believe, is one of the top 2 cars right now, and it's only determined by 0.5 of a difference in points. Or maybe a little bit more than that. I kind of forgot what the leaderboard is, but there isn't much of a difference between. Last year the Bomero won, and I'm pretty sure that's interchanged with the Owl right now in terms of first and second. But right now, the Owl definitely has an advantage. We'll have to see how it goes though, because again, the pole can make a difference here. I think the only real problem with the Owl, other than, ooh, the V16 is pretty, okay, wow, this is, this is a little rough here. The V16 is pretty good. Like, it's a decent engine, twin turbo V16. But the only issue this thing has is this mirrors wobble. That's pretty much it. Like, other than that, it runs well, it drives well. It doesn't really need any updates. I don't even know what we'd do for a 2.0 version yet. Oh yeah, I should say, so the rules of the challenge, I think I laid them out at the beginning, are the same as they were last year in the sense that the loser is also going to be remade. So whoever loses the overall competition, you'll get a bit of a glimpse into it today, but the poll is going to matter. But whoever loses, say it's the Bugo, the Rhino, San Andreas, whatever, it's probably going to be redone at the same time as the other car is redone, whoever gets in first. So we'll have a 2.0 version of both of them. Alright, the Group CL, even after taking a bit of a trip in the grass, is still wicked fast. And wow, we basically flying there. That is a 201. Not gonna beat the XR5 or the Brodozer, but still quite fast. So my fears and my nightmares are coming true. It's time to run the Ultra R on the track. Of the two, being the Vomero and the Saint Ultra R, the ridiculous horsepower cars, this is the one I'm most afraid of, being an SUV, much taller center of gravity, much more power, and just generally a lot more dangerous. And as you can see, I think my fear has been warranted. Right, so I don't anticipate the Saint Ultra R is going to do amazing. I don't think it's going to beat the Vomero, but I do hope that it'll beat some of the other much less horsepower cars in the running. It is quick, and like, you just can't deny that kind of power. Like, for those of you who don't know, it's got 3,400 horsepower. It's kind of hard to beat that. Now again, the deciding factor here is wheel spin. If you're looking at the torque curve, you can see it has a significant bump, close to, I guess, 6,500 RPM, and that is like just a torque cliff on this car. It goes from, I don't know, I guess 1,000 horsepower to 3,000 real quick, and that is a big jump to consider. Oh, the brakes have let us down. That is our second run. Oh boy, here we go. One more time, and if I crash, I'm just gonna have to keep going. Just like this. Oh, I was getting a little afraid there. That was dangerous. The Saint Ultra R has enough power to pull itself out of anything. Oh, that's a checkpoint missed. Oh goodness, we're gonna have to reverse into it. I cannot retry. 21 seconds, come on, shift into drive, there we go. Oh wow, this is not gonna be a good time there. That missed checkpoint is going to determine a lot, but it's only fair. We have to stick to the rules. Hopefully this run is clean other than that though. Oh, too fast into the rocks. Oh, bent wheel. No, come on. I was really hoping that it would stay clean, but I was cooking it a little bit too much there. I'm really trying to push this car now that it's behind by like 20 seconds or something after that missed checkpoint in reverse. That was a significant error, but this wheel is not making it any easier to turn. Alright, another slight hit on the barrier, but okay, that wheel seems to be fine, might be pulling in a little bit, and we're not going to make that same mistake again and lose a wheel here, so we should be good. The wheels in this SUV are quite delicate, so that's why I'm so worried. Like you saw there in the first collision, we did lose one. It's very possible to happen again, so we have to really watch out here. We're already not doing the best. Ooh, and runs like that are not helping. We're already at 2 minutes. Not the best, but we are pretty close to the end. Come on. Oh, that was a hit there. That definitely bent something. Yep, it did. Okay. Come on, Saint Ultra R. You can do better than 2.5 minutes. Let's not go down to that level. Ooh, I hope the Vomero's run is cleaner than this. Okay, so after a lot of errors, we managed to get a 221. Last but not least is the Vomero 4.0, I mean 3.0, but if it wins this, it might be 4.0, we'll see. Yeah, so the time to beat is 1:58. The Saint Ultra R honestly would have beaten it if it hadn't have had all those errors, so if we can get through with the Vomero with a good lap, we should have victory here, but this is still a massive victory for the Brodozer and King XR5. Even if the Vomero gets first, they're still second and third. Like, that's nuts. So, let's go. Okay, starting off here, the brakes are a lot better on the Vomero than they are on the Saint Ultra R. Also being a lot lower is helping. the center of gravity on this car is significantly lower than the St. Ultra R. I think that the next time, oh wow, the next time, like if this happens to win, we'd probably keep the engine. We might attempt to do a V8, because we keep losing cylinders every time we race this one, or every time we improve it, I mean. It started as a V12 and now it's a V10, and if it gets a 4.0 it might even be a V8. Maybe it might just steal the St. Ultra R's engine, we'll see. But one thing it definitely needs is bigger brakes. It's really suffering. I'm going to make the rims as big as they can be, and I will make the brakes as big as they can be too. Just because we need as much stopping power as possible to like quench this. Ooh, yikes. Beast. Yeah, it's really hard to stop something like this. It's basically a train. It weighs quite a bit. I think it's 1,800 kilos or somewhere like 16 to 1,800 kilos, and it's got 2,900 horsepower, so yeah, it's hard to stop it. I'm basically living in fear a lot of the time when driving these cars. But that was a pretty sweet jump. No shortage of power here, but we need to be careful. That leg spike constantly causes me to fly into this fence, so just gotta watch out. Oh, okay, and a bit of a tap there. A little bit of a bent wheel, but we can continue for sure. This is only run 2, so if we mess up we do get one more chance, but I don't want to have to get to that one more chance if we can do it. I think eventually it might be good to offer incentives for finishing on the first run, because then some of these crazy cars wouldn't. Ooh. Yeah, we're gonna have to redo. Last attempt for the Beamero, let's hope it goes well. Okay, so we can't make that same mistake here. I've learned to not floor it through that section, but we only have 30 seconds to get to the top if we want to claim first place with this car. It's probably gonna do better than the Owl. Oh, I say that. Oh, goodness. Quick reverse. Yikes. This is not going as well as I would hope. We're so close to the finish. Yikes, our wheel is very bent now. Things are a little bit out of control as the back wheel is not exactly straight anymore after that collision. But this is still going quick. If we can cross the line. Ooh, a 2:02, goodness. Looking at the leaderboard here, this is what has happened. So the Brodozer 2.0 has won, actually, with 158.1. It's just a good combination of power, good braking, and I don't know, it somehow won this event. What a weird event that the Brodozer wins it. And the XR5 is in second with a minute 59.3, just crazy. But it's so cool to see those cars up on top. After that is the Group C Owl and the Beamero. There's only, I mean, there's less than a second of difference between the two. So good. It's good to see that kind of closeness. Like, this is the kind of stuff I want. And then the St. Ultra R is after that in 5th. So after that we have the VATS E-Spec, the Trig Trig X, the Panther Tree Turbo, the King XR8, the Rhino and the San Andreas, and the Bugo in last with 319. Very interesting results from this one. Let's see how it affects the overall leaderboard. We have a little bit of a gap between first and second right now. It is the Group C Owl in first with 48.5 points, with the Beamero 3.0 in second with 47 points. And third is actually tied between the St. Ultra R and the Trig Trig X. So that's pretty cool to see. The poll is going to really change things, so please make sure to vote. After that, 4th place is actually tied between the King XR5 and the VATS E-Spec, both with 37 points. So all of those are very close as well. The Brodozer is next with 29, the Panther Tree Turbo with 27.5, the King XR8 with 27, again very close. And then the Rhino, the San Andreas, and the Bugo are all also very close, with the San Andreas and the Bugo actually being tied for the last with 18 points, and the Rhino being 2 points ahead of that at 20. So things are heating up here. With the final thing coming up next week, make sure that you vote. I'm going to be taking the scores off the poll probably on Tuesday, so make sure that you get your vote in. You can vote on any device that you want to, so feel free to vote on whatever you've got. And pay attention next week, it's the finale. I will see you there. It's going to be great.